What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Walkout Podcast, where we cover fights, news, and more. And today we're reacting to UFC 320 that took place this weekend. And honestly, this is probably the best UFC card of the entire year. So let's just get into it. Of course, starting off with the main event, where Alex Pereira knocked out Magomed Ankalaev inside round one. And I predicted a Pereira knockout win here, but I didn't predict this. I mean, the most telling thing, in my opinion, from this fight is the look in Magomed Ankalaev's eyes when he felt those first kicks from Pereira, those low kicks that he's famous for. And it was just like, this is different this time. And of course, as we all know, Alex Pereira said that he was injured in the last fight and ill and wasn't feeling well. And honestly, I do believe him after this performance because this looked like the old Pereira with stalking down Ankalaev, moving forward without a doubt in his mind, and just put the pressure on him. And honestly, from the first few seconds of this fight, you knew that Pereira was going to take him out. And long and behold, he lands that overhand right. Usually, it's the left hand, the left hook that we see Pereira dominate guys with. But that's just a credit to how skilled he is as a kickboxer and at selecting his shots when he can varies. Obviously, Ankalaev probably expected the left hook and was a bit more ready for that. And Alex Pereira just comes in with the overhand right, smacks him down. Ankalaev panic shoots for the takedown there, which was the beginning of the end for him, as Pereira keeps on raining down shots. Ankalaev scrambles, is really stressing out. Pereira landing some heavy shots as well. Ankalaev isn't defending too much, but blocking a few of them on a guard on the ground. But then Alex Pereira switches up and goes for the 12 to 6 elbows, and that was just nasty. And credit to Herb Dean, in my opinion. Some people think that he should have stopped it a bit earlier, but you have to give the champion a chance to defend himself, and that's what we all expect. But Ankalaev just didn't. He just lay there, panicked, guarded up, and just waited for the fight to being stopped. And when a fighter doesn't answer for that many shots or tries to change the position, it's totally correct for Herb Dean, in my opinion, to stop the fight there. And Pereira just walks off. I mean, wow, what a performance. Before this fight, I was thinking, okay, if Pereira takes it, we all want to see a trilogy. But honestly, does anyone want to see a trilogy after this fight? I don't. I want to see Alex Pereira move on and fight a real legacy fight like a Thomas Binal or a John Jones. And we can get into that in another video, I'm sure. That's a whole other discussion. But seeing the belt around Alex Pereira just looked so right, and he really showed the levels tonight. I mean, at 38 years old as well, incredibly impressive by Poatan. Moving on down the card, we have the bantamweight goat, who, of course, as we predicted correctly, defended his title once again. Merab Dvalishvili doing a Chilson there on the pronunciation, but I mean, it just keeps on going for the machine. Incredibly impressive. Of course, it was kind of a close fight, but not really. I think Sandhagen did well, but you have to consider that Sandhagen is one of the best fighters in the bantamweight division. He's incredibly skilled and has a very high fight IQ. And Merab just mauled him down. I mean, there was even a moment there where Merab almost looked like he would have knocked Sandhagen out. And judging by the reach advantage that Sandhagen has, and the fact that he is a really clean striker, that should have never been the case. But that's just a credit to Merab. I mean, he's so incredibly skilled. And the obvious thing here is the cardio. I mean, whatever training this guy does, I know it's crazy. He's out swimming up rivers and stuff and chopping down trees. But I mean, a lot of fighters have done that even since the 60s, but they haven't looked like having even close to the cardio of Merab. I mean, he's just insane. Obviously, beating the takedown record as well. And here, 20 out of 37 takedowns is mental for a title bout. And that's against someone as skilled at defending takedowns as Corsaningen is. Just incredible from Merab Dvalishvili. What's next for him? I mean, you tell me, because he's cleaned out the division. Sorry. So honestly, it's just like start over, beat the guys again. I reckon if Pantoja doesn't want to move up, because that's an interesting fight. But Pantoja has Joshua Van to fight next, so I don't see that in the immediate future. And maybe if Umar wins his upcoming fight, you can make Merab versus Umar 2 in the start of 2026. But Merab just keeps on adding to his resume. And I mean, we said it before, we'll say it again. The bantamweight GOAT now beginning to climb the actual GOAT discussion of the whole UFC pound for pound, disregarding weight class, and definitely the pound for pound rankings at the minute. I'm not sure where I would put him personally, but it's going to be interesting to see where the UFC put him here because I honestly think he has to be like top 3 or top 2, to be honest. Just amazing from Marab, as always. I've seen a lot of people complaining, and I get it. Of course, Corey or O'Malley or someone like that is a lot more entertaining for most people, but you can't not be impressed by the incredible skills on display from Marab and a huge win over Corey Sandhagen here. Next up, we have a fight that we actually predicted spot on. A third round KO from Jiri Prohaska. I mean, this guy is just amazing. I'm struggling to find the word right now. Of course, as we saw, he was shaky to say the least in the first 2 rounds, not looking as crisp and as technical as usual. And some people will say that he doesn't look technical because of how low his hands often are. But if you know striking, you know that Yuri Praski is actually a really, really skilled and technical guy when it comes to striking, even though he's quite unorthodox. But in the first 2 rounds, I was very worried for him. I thought if it continues on like this, we'll see a Khalil Roundtree victory here. But as we saw, Yuri just grew in the third round and then put a devastating beatdown as he puts down Khalil Roundtree. I mean, what is this guy on? I know that he went out in the woods for like a month and didn't speak to anyone, and maybe that's the secret. I'm not sure. But what I know is that Yuri Prohaska's aura is unmatched, and if you don't manage to do like Pereira did against him and nail him to the canvas, you're going to lose. We've seen it time and time again against the top guys. Yuri Prohaska just finds a way to win, and I honestly want to see him for the title soon. Probably not another Alex Pereira fight, right? But against someone like an Carlos Olberg or even an Ankalaev, they've had a bit of beef as well. I mean, anytime Yuri fights, it's just completely the most entertaining thing ever. I mean, he's beginning to be one of the most popular fighters in the entire UFC, and for good reason. When it comes to Khalil, obviously also kind of a fan favorite to some regard because he never stops fighting. As we saw, he just went down when it was completely ended, but he wasn't like Ankalaev who more or less gave up. Khalil went out to the bitter end. Unfortunately, got put down, and he has to take a lot of time off. But credit to him as well for being such a tough guy. But all the credit to Jiri Prohaska. What an incredible, spectacular finish from him. Moving on down the card, Josh Emmett took a loss against Yusuf Salal. Very impressive performance from Salal. I mean, Josh Emmett got exposed here, in my opinion, for what a lot of us thought we knew. He is a bit of an overhand merchant. It just, he spams those overhands, and when he manages to land them, like against Bryce Mitchell, it's amazing. But if he doesn't, you see exactly what you saw in this fight here. Salal taking him down, working out a submission, and gets it down in the very first round. Very impressive. What wasn't so impressive from Salal was his skills on the mic afterwards. I mean, bro, you really gotta be working on that. That was poor, man. When you get your spotlight, you have to capitalize and build some hype for the future, especially when you do it like this on a pay per view on the main card. And of course, he's going to get good opportunities after such a big win in the featherweight division, like against Josh Emmett here, submitting him in the first round. Very impressive. But you also got to be able to talk a big game. And Salah losing a lot of aura and fans after that post fight interview. But in some people's eyes, that's not the most important thing, of course. It's how he performed in the octagon. And Salah did incredibly well here, even though Josh Emmett maybe he's not as good as a lot of us thought that he is, and obviously, he's getting on in age and mileage on the old clock, so he should maybe be considering retirement or at least taking a lot of time off here and reconsidering his career choices. But the credit goes to Yusuf Salal, of course. What's next for him? Difficult to say. Who do you match him up against? Definitely a top contender in the featherweight division. And lastly, Abus Magmomedov taking a loss to Joe Pyfer. A really, really incredible Joe Pyfer. And I have to agree with a lot of what I've seen in the few days after the fight here. Joe Pyfer is probably the hardest hitting middleweight of all time, at least that I've seen. It's just ridiculous. The power he has for that weight class is mental. Magomedov did well in round one, as we saw, control the fight very well. Joe Pyfer is a bit of a slow start though, as we all know. And the recipe for beating him, in my opinion, is to put it on him very early, a bit like with Yuri, as I mentioned previously. But if you don't, it just happens what happened in round two here. Pyfer tearing into the body of Abus here, and then Abus being a bit stressed out and a bit terrified, opening himself up, not thinking really clearly there. Pyfer taking him down, submitting him, easy as you like. Even though Magomedov started the fight off so well, it looked dominant at the end for Pyfer, and it's really exciting to see him up next. What matchups you put him in? I would worry for almost anyone that you put in there with Pyfer because he is just that guy that even though if you're technically better than him, he just has that one hitter quitter that he can pull out at any given time. So if you don't stop him early, or maybe do a Hamza Chimaev and just lay on top of him for 5 rounds, Pyfer can put anyone out in the middle of the division, and I truly believe that. So very exciting to see what the future holds for him. So that's UFC 320 wrapped up, and it really delivered the way we hoped it would. I mean, as I mentioned at the start, probably the best fight card of the entire year. A lot thanks to Alex Pereira, who got a lot of hype back into the fan base and behind him, of course, as he knocks out Ankalaev in stunning fashion. Also, Merab continuing to build on his legacy as one of the greatest pound for pound fighters ever, and as well a spectacular finish from Yuri Prohaska, knocking out Khalil Roundtree. All in all, an amazing card. But that's all for me. Thank you guys a lot for listening, and I'll be catching you guys in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.